The CARICOM Secretary General appeals to the international community to give generously ahead of a pledging conference for hurricane-hit islands. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline from Monday, November 20th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Less than 24 hours before a CARICOM UN high-level pledging conference gets underway in New York to help member states severely impacted by Hurricanes Irma and Maria in September, CARICOM's Secretary General Erwin LaRocque says hurricanes have become game changers for the Caribbean, and he's asked for members of the international community to dig deep into their pockets to provide much needed aid. The donor conference is aimed at rebuilding regional countries devastated by the hurricanes as the first climate resilient countries in the world, and at helping the wider CARICOM region improve its resilience. Addressing the technical consultations ahead of Tuesday's conference, LaRocque said the occurrence of successive Category 5 hurricanes signals a dangerous change in the intensity and frequency of climate change-related events, and it also heralds the advent of a new normal. And he said the Caribbean must therefore adapt to that new reality. But LaRocque also noted that while the region is doing what it can on its own, much more needs to be done. He said, quote, "It requires significant investment to reduce risks and vulnerabilities to prepare for the impact of such events. The high levels of reconstruction will require a major injection of financing which we are unable to generate. We cannot do it alone." End quote. Also addressing the session was Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown, as well as United Nations Development Fund Administrator Ashim Steiner. The UNDP official says the rest of the world must help the region's rebuilding effort.
But out of tomorrow should come some very concrete pledges that will allow us to look to the next 2 to 3 years as mobilizing international resources alongside national resources. And the reason why this is so important is that if we do not manage to do this by tomorrow, then first of all we are leaving a number of Caribbean nations on their own. And as you pointed out, Prime Minister, these hurricanes, yes, they are not new, but it is also not a pure coincidence that they are getting bigger, more frequent, more damaging. I have just myself returned from the Bonn Climate Conference, and I must say I was reassured by the spirit of collective and common vision of how this Paris Agreement must now be translated into action on the ground. Part of that is to deal with resilience. It is to also help countries deal with their losses when they occur, and above all to realize that, yes, this is what the world looks like when you do not act on climate change. It's as crass, as in a sense sobering, and in the cases of Barbuda and Dominica as absolutely destructive as we have just seen.
Britain is providing more financial assistance to Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica to help recovery and long-term reconstruction of the islands following the devastation. Dominica will get the bulk of the £15 million sterling package. It will receive $12 million, while Antigua and Barbuda will get the remaining $3 million. The aid announcement came as Britain's Prince Charles visited the two islands over the weekend. We get more on the royal visit from Jamie J. Roche of ABS News.
The plane transporting His Royal Highness Prince Charles touched down in Barbuda at 11:01 Saturday morning. He was met at the airstrip by officials, including Governor General Sir Rodney Williams, Barbuda Affairs Minister the Honourable Arthur Nips, and head of the National Emergency Operations Center, Major Orlando Michael. The Prince's trip to the sister isle is one of the defining moments of his visit to Antigua and Barbuda as part of his tour of Caribbean islands severely impacted by Hurricanes Irma and Maria. As he was driven through the streets of Codrington, the prince saw firsthand destroyed homes and the ruins of public facilities. Minister Nabs is pleased the prince took keen interest in the reconstruction plans for the island.
Well, he wanted to ensure that whenever we're going to build back, we build back stronger and better, because he was quite concerned about the architecture, the kind of drafting and so on that went into the building construction. Although from my point of view, I don't quite share the view that it has all that to do with the type of construction. This was an unprecedented storm, packing winds of 185 miles an hour, gusting at 200 and 215. So whatever construction, tell me, man, it would have hampered that. So it's all about ensuring that we build back better, of course.
The minister is hopeful for additional British support following the prince's visit.
What I expect coming from this now is that the British government would see the need to make some more rapid response with respect to assisting Barbuda's rebuild. Like I said, we had that connection, and I think that the prince got the idea and the message that we do need some serious help, so we're now waiting to see.
Prince Charles' visit comes on the heels of similar trips by United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland. Both have since called on the international community to do more to assist in the recovery effort on the sister isle.
Meantime, Prince Charles has acknowledged the clear and present danger climate change poses to Caribbean islands. He was speaking at a reception held in his honor at Government House in Antigua.
It is, I fear, a sign of the times that extreme weather conditions, including Atlantic hurricanes, are becoming more frequent and more terrible, despite constant denials of the evidence. As has been predicted, and as some have tried for so long to warn, hurricanes draw strength from the warming ocean surface, and the warmer the ocean, the stronger the hurricanes. As the world has warmed up, which it has done, with 2014, 2015, and 2016 being successively the warmest years on record, so storms have taken on the unprecedented ferocity seen this season, unleashing such dire consequences upon your poor country, other island nations, and many coastal regions.
In other news, a former government minister in Trinidad and Tobago is the new head of the Opposition Congress of the People, the COP. Caroline C. Prasad Bashan was declared the new leader on Sunday night after defeating her lone challenger, Sharon Gopal McNichols, by a landslide for the top post in internal party elections that had been postponed twice. Figures show Bashan capturing some 400 out of the 600 votes cast. After her victory, she urged disenchanted, angry and fragmented supporters to return to the COP fold. She wants them to help rebuild the party that had formed part of the Coalition People's Partnership government of Kamla Prasad Besessar during the 2010 to 2015 period. Janelle Bernard of CNC3 News reports.
The newly elected political leader of the Congress of the People, Caroline C. Prasad Bashan, says she's excited about taking the party forward. C. Prasad Bashan says the party will now focus its efforts on rebuilding a united front and regaining the trust of the people. And while she is not ruling out any future political collaborations, she says this can only be done when COP is able to first stand on its own.
The COP is interested in rebuilding the COP as a party with its own identity and once again being able to fight 41 seats in any election. The issue of coalition politics, however, will always remain and is still very much relevant to Trinidad and Tobago because of our diversity.
The COP's political leader-elect says the party's groundwork will play a major role in its rebuilding.
My first objective is to establish a leadership team that can take the COP forward. My second objective is for us to start back our consultations with the people, with our members, and re-establish all our conversations and dialogue teams. In addition to that, we are starting what we call a solution series where we would have young people come in and, be part of these conversations in deriving solutions for problems in our country. The third that we will be going forward with is the establishment of community circles around this country, because we believe in the community-based governance structure, and we feel that the community circles must become the activity, the hub of activity in our party. And as a result of that, all the central organs of the party.
Sipasad Bachchan believes that the party's failure to make its mark in the last general election was a major blow to the Congress of the People.
The partnership that failed miserably. This is why today the COP is where it is today, at rock bottom, with all of its members very disenchanted with the Congress of the People. So in any going forward with any kind of coalition, we have to get the formula right.
Meantime, the opposition-won Bermuda Alliance, the OBA, also has a new female at the helm. She is Jean Atherden with 37.3% of the vote. She edged out two former leaders of the party, Patricia Gordon Pamplin, who got 34% of the ballots cast, and Craig Cannonier, who won 28.6%. After her victory on Saturday night, the 69-year-old Atherden pledged to increase diversity in gender, race and age within her party and to connect with the public. She also vowed to address some of the concerns many believe led to the party's downfall at the general election in July. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the IMF keeping an eye on Barbados's new fiscal regime. That story and more after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome to the gem of the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda.
A warm welcome awaits you at our state-of-the-art VC Bird International Airport.
I must say that Antigua is in wonderful shape. 5 minutes off the boat and we're already in paradise.
Antigua was not that damaged by the storm as much as Barbuda was. The hotels are still open, the beaches are still clean, and the people are still friendly.
With Antigua, it's the people that really await you.
Hurricane Irma may have hit a little bit, but you can't even tell that it was ever here. The beach is wonderful. I'm having a great time.
Everything is just as we remember. No storm damage.
We're here and we're open.
And we're better than ever.
I do a lot of destination weddings, and I see weddings that could happen here, and they would be in love with it.
I can't say enough about how in love with Antigua I am.
It is one nation, two islands, and I'm loving it.
Barbados, it's gonna be lit. FAS 7-star Hennessy and Yellow present Hennessy Artistry, featuring international superstar Barris Hammond, Sizzler,
Dry Cry, Evening Tears,
Movado, Pasfana Fox, Little Rick, and Nikita. And for the first time in Barbados, Tory Lanez. Hosted by Vane and Peter Coppin. The Hennessy Experience of a Lifetime.
Everyone falls in love sometimes.
Hennessy Artistry, December 2nd, Kensington Oval. Welcome to the weekend. Hennessy, never stop, never settle. Flaunt your taste responsibly.
Well, I'm interested in vindicating workers' rights, and so when people are getting cheated, when they're suffering discrimination, when they observe unlawful practices and they suffer retaliation when they expose those practices, people who are getting stiffed on their wages, and generally whenever there's a social justice component there and it's on behalf of workers, my firm's ready to step in and try to help.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says it will closely monitor the implementation of a new fiscal regime introduced by the Barbados government. The Frondel Stewart administration recently introduced the National Sustainability Recovery Plan aimed at debt financing, fiscal stability, public office reform, and improving the ease of doing business. IMF Director for the Western Hemisphere, Alejandro Werner, tells CMC News implementation of the program is key to stabilizing Barbados's economy.
It was important to continue to monitor the implementation of these policies, and even if these policies change to the extent that they continue to strengthen the fiscal situation and contain the deterioration of the debt trajectory, that would be very important in the short run to change the expectations of economic agents that this situation is not sustainable in the medium term. And then it would be, I mean, also important to fine-tune these policies, to start looking at the most efficient ways to achieve those objectives.
There have been fears that Barbados may have to devalue its currency, and Werner maintains that decision would have to be made solely by the government. But he warns that maintaining a rigid currency exchange regime would require greater flexibility in other areas to ensure the success of the new fiscal measures.
In the last few years, the important build-up in public debt has led to a significant deterioration of the conditions, of the financing conditions for the government of Barbados. That has also triggered an important loss in reserves, and that obviously has generated an important fragility to which the government has reacted. But obviously, the implementation of this program will be key to stabilize the situation going forward. And we are obviously continuously exchanging views and giving, let's say, our advice, and we're following closely the implementation of the government's program.
In Belize, 2 government ministers, including Acting Prime Minister Patrick Faber, escaped unhurt after the plane in which they were traveling crashed over the weekend. Faber and the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Forestry, the Environment and Sustainable Development and Immigration, Godwin Hulse, were en route to Punta Gorda town on a Tropic Air flight last Friday when it went down. A statement from the government press office said that after the plane took off from the Placencia airstrip, the left landing wheel made contact with a vehicle that had bypassed one of the lowered barriers. The impact caused the plane to plunge into the sea right off the coast of Placencia, not far from the airstrip. A rescue team was sent out and everyone on board the plane, including the pilot, was transported safely back to land. And ahead in Newsline Sport, victories for the Guyana Jaguars and Barbados Pride in the regional 4-day championship.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
What is it about families that give kids the foundation of family?
Nurturing.
Come on, we
Very
don't do sound bites
obvious.
here. We're talking detail here. Come on. You accustomed to being on those other shows. We really talk. Talk
They
about it.
have to be a nurturing couple to have that kind of child who's very articulate and very comfortable being in an uncomfortable situation and being interviewed by you.
Well said.
Welcome back. Well, cricket tops our Monday sports segment. Left-arm spinner Veerasamy Permaul snatched 3 of the 4 remaining wickets to end with 5 in the innings and 9 in the match as Guyana Jaguars beat Trinidad and Tobago Red Force by an innings and 217 runs in their 4th round match on Sunday. Resuming the final day of the day-night encounter at the Brian Lara Stadium on 108 for 6 in their innings, and with little hope of saving the match, the hosts were dismissed for 175, 10 minutes before lunch, to hand Jaguars their third win of the regional 4-day championship. Imran Khan and Daniel St. Clair, both not out overnight, made joint top scores of 28, while captain Dinesh Ramdin, batting at number 9, finished unbeaten on 22. Promal claimed 5 for 54 to end with match figures of 9 for 97. The victory saw the three-time reigning champions move to 64.8 points, extending their lead at the top of the table to 20 points over second-placed Leeward Islands Hurricanes. Meanwhile, in St. Vincent, Barbados Pride finally won their first match, making light work of Windward Islands Volcanoes in thrashing them by 135 runs in their fourth round encounter. Resuming the day on 148 for 9, Pride added a further 23 runs before they were dismissed in their second innings for 171, 20 minutes into the morning session. And Volcanoes were quickly in trouble, losing key batsmen to slump to 62 for 3 at lunch. Off-spinner Kenroy Williams was outstanding with 4 for 36 as the home side, set 310 for victory, collapsed to 174 all out in their second innings. That was 1¼ hours before the scheduled close of the final day at Arnasville. The result broke a sequence of poor results which saw Barbados Pride losing 1 and drawing 2 of their opening 3 matches. And Nikita Miller and Damian Jacobs produced further evidence that spin remains the undoing of Leeward Islands Hurricanes batsmen when they bowled Jamaica Scorpions to a 157-run victory in the Regional 4-Day Championship also on Sunday. Left-arm spinner Miller bagged 5 for 31 from 20 overs, ending with match figures of 10 for 87, and leg spinner Jacobs collected 3 for 65 from 19.4 overs as the Hurricanes were bowled out for 144 in their second innings on the final day of their fourth-round match at Warner Park. West Indies A-team opener Monson Hodge and rookie Terence Ward led the way with 30 apiece. Former Scorpions wicket-keeper batsman and part-time medium-fast bowler Devon Thomas made 25, and Hurricanes captain Rakeem Cornwall added 23. Scorpions, fifth in the standings on 18.2 points prior to the match, earned 18.4 points. Those were 12 for victory, 3 batting points, 3 bowling points, and 0.4 pace bowling points. Hurricanes, previously third on 38.6, gained just 6 from 3 bowling points, 1 batting point, plus 2 pace bowling points. Switching sports, Trinidad and Tobago's under-20 women's football squad got off to a flying start in their bid for a spot in the CONCACAF Women's World Cup next year with a 1-0 win over Jamaica. But in this report from Ruskin Mart of C Sport, we hear from the head coach why the team shouldn't be celebrating the victory just yet.
Exchanges early and only the post deny them here. Laurel Theodore, the unlucky one. They would punch again, but this time the shot was straight at the Jamaican goalkeeper, Yasmin Jameson, who held on for dear life. Then on 19 minutes, TNT got the crucial goal as this free kick from
We apologize for the break in transmission in that clip there. Staying with football, though, the Cayman Islands Football Association has a new man at the helm. He is former goalkeeper and CONCACAF referee Alfredo Whitaker. He dethroned former SIFA boss Lee Raymond 8-7 in the fourth round of elections. Whitaker was also going up against Renard Moxam, who removed himself after the third round, making way for only 2 contenders to vie for the top job. After winning the election, Whitaker said he was seeking to usher in a new era of transparency at the association, which has been at the center of investigations into a financial scandal involving former President Jeff Webb and several other top officials in the association. Whitaker spoke to Cayman 27 following the election.
We cannot continue to look backwards. We need to look at the future. Sometimes when you look to the back, the only thing that we have there is bad memories and bad feelings. Now is time to look forward, and take my word for it. we going forward, we will see our football association in a different direction. And the most important part of it, we will see a great development of our youth football on the island.
SIFA is down to receive a financial injection of $500,000 from FIFA, with an additional $1.25 million for an accounting firm to complete the work of the association. Whitaker says the funding will go towards the development of youth programs on the island.
Priorities. Right now we have the U20 national team that is getting ready to participate in competition. We need to sit down, we need to see the amount of money that is coming in, and we need to speak with Coach Seymour to see where he at, and definitely we need to look into our youth national teams, because some of them go and get active, and that's where our priorities are right now.
And finally, in horse racing, veteran Barbadian jockey Patrick Husbands continued to make his presence felt at Woodbine, riding a double on Saturday's 10-race card at Western Canada's premier racetrack. The 44-year-old won race 4 with favourite Super Flyover before returning to take race 6 with 3-1 chance Thora Barber to move 114 runs for the season. Husbands, a 7-time Woodbine champion, kicked off his success over 7 furlongs, steering 3-year-old colt Super Flyover to a narrow victory by a head over the 3-year-olds and upward.
From Heaven by a length and a half. Magical Man second. Third, Love in the Forest, followed by Snicker. On the outside, Super Flyover steps up now to really challenge for the lead and is coming 3 wide. Gamble Citizen angles off the inside. Cardinal Sin making some ground, and then came Gasconade and Perlarana. And the favourite, Super Flyover, ranges up to Leo from Heaven. Top of the home stretch, and Leo from Heaven in front. Joined by Super Flyover. On the inside, Love in the Forest. Down the outside, Cardinal Sin, the centre, Snicker, and Super Flyover has a battle on her hands. On the inside, still there, Leo from Heaven. Cardinal Sin flying home on the outside. Cardinal Sin coming after Super Flyover. Super Flyover just wins from Cardinal Sin and Leo from Heaven. And then Snicker and Gamble Citizen behind them, 123.04.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Jamaican reggae star Tanya Stevens is set to release new music before the Christmas. Tanya shared the good news to Rhythm and Buzz while on the island of Grenada recently.
Songs will start being released from as early as Christmas. I think the first single should start, should touch the road by Christmas. And then I'm part of a collaboration of artists making a compilation, and that should hit the road.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and Carib Vision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
Again, the major developments of this day: the CARICOM Secretary General appeals to the international community to give generously ahead of a donor conference for hurricane-hit islands. And in sport, wins for the Ghana Jaguars and Barbados Pride in round 4 of the regional 4-day championship. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport round the clock, log on to CanaNews.com. We will be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and good night.